Welcome to On the Pitch with TJ Picks. I'm your host, TJ Raff. It was another great week in soccer. Like I've mentioned before, fellas, you don't really need to bet any other sports other than soccer to make the most money. It doesn't matter if you're not a soccer fan, if you don't watch soccer, it doesn't matter. Let me guide you. Most of my VIP clients were never big fans of soccer. Now they love it. And it's for a reason, because we win way more than we lose. There's those days when we have a couple of losses, but hey, that happens. But our hit rate is fantastic, and you just got to get in to see it for yourself. Those of you that have been following the podcast have been getting free gems left and right. We hit another over 2.5 combo parlay this last week, and I gave it here on the podcast for free. I'll have another one this week, and it was in the Bundesliga. We had Bayer Leverkusen versus Hoffenheim over 2.5 combined with Borussia Gladbach and Stuttgart. Guys, both of those games flew way over. I had those as individual VIP plays on the over as well. We were on a 15-1 weekend run, guys. That's 15 wins, only one loss. That's unbelievable, guys. I don't know anybody else who's doing that. My VIP guys, like I said, are eating. I tell them to take it easy with the NFL, to just don't even look at baseball, because there's no point when you're betting these soccer games. Get on board. We also had another win in the podcast I gave you guys. PSG to win over the goals again. That happened. That cashed. Most importantly, guys, my mega super banger in El Tráfico, LAFC versus Los Angeles Galaxy in Carson, which is the home of the Galaxy. Both to score was the big bet. Biggest bet of the year. It was a minus 230, but it's a can't miss, won't miss, hasn't missed in now 12 games in a row. Both teams scored. There was tons of goals. It flew way over. We hit the both to score. We hit both to score over 2.5, and we hit the over 3.5 goals, guys. There's nothing better than getting a sweep on a game like that, and that's what we do in the VIP.
You even actually all but gave that out talking on the podcast. Like, you broke the game down, and if people dissected it, they were able to get those lines as well too. So obviously a lot of value last week. And if people listen to the podcast, they're cashing. For me, going into, I'm an MMA guy, going into UFC Noche with soccer tickets that have already cashed all day felt pretty damn good.
There you go. Like I said, guys, my co-host here, he's just learning about soccer. I know he's taking down notes, and he's making his own parlays for what I'm giving here on the podcast, day in, day out, putting parlays together, and they're hitting at a high hit rate. And that's what I'm here for, guys. I'm practically giving you guys most of my VIP plays here on this podcast. So if you're watching this day in, day out, week after week, you're getting a lot of the plays that my VIP guys are getting. What you're not getting is the VIP exclusive chat, where you're in there with me day in, day out, talking sports, shooting the shit. We're talking about games left and right. There's guys in there sending plays 24/7. So that's still part of the VIP. You can get that all for a very low, affordable price. Best in the business. Nobody else is doing this. And like I said, it is soccer. 95% of our bets, but we do NFL. We hit some NFL teasers. We hit some prop plays. We did very well in the NFL this weekend as well. So keep that in mind. We're headed right now into Saturday's soccer action. We're not going to touch too many leagues this week. Let's get right into Saturday's soccer action. We're starting with the England Premier League. First game, West Ham at home versus Chelsea. West Ham's a plus 240 dog, Chelsea plus 105 dog. Never know what you're going to get with Chelsea, but I am going to take Chelsea in this game as the away small dog at the plus 105, but the bigger dog is the plus 240. Give me Chelsea away beating West Ham in game number 1. Moving on to game 2, Aston Villa at home taking on the Wolverhampton Wolves. Give me Aston Villa at home to take the victory. Next game, Fulham at home versus Newcastle. Toss up here. Give me the home team, Fulham, to get the victory. Next game, Leicester at home taking on Everton. Another coin flip game, tricky one. Give me a draw. Leicester versus Everton. I will take the tie. Liverpool coming off a embarrassing loss to Nottingham Forest. I got to go with Liverpool here to beat Bournemouth. Liverpool got a big victory in Champions League. They will dominate Bournemouth here, and there will be some goals. Give me Liverpool and some goals in this game. Moving on to Southampton, taking on Ipswich. Southampton's been involved in games with a lot of goals this year. They are at home. Give me Southampton for the victory. Moving on to Tottenham at home versus Brentford. Tottenham, the minus 189 favorite. You got to go with Tottenham and some goals here as well. Look at the goal market. Crystal Palace taking on Manchester United. Manchester United just beat some team 7-8-0 today. I forget the score. They just demolished them in the cup tournament, EPL Cup, I believe. Manchester United, up and down, bipolar team, taking on Crystal Palace. You know what? Give me Manchester United to build up from the momentum in this victory just a few days ago to win on Saturday at Crystal Palace. League One, French League. We don't bet it often or bet plenty of games in this league, but we are going to go with PSG again. PSG, who did not show out too well in the Champions League matchup earlier today. They did get a lucky win versus Girona, but they had a lot of shots and couldn't put it in, but they have been dominating their French league. So let's take PSG again. We got it until it's broken. Give me PSG to get the victory here versus Reims as an away team, and give me some goals again with PSG. All right, guys, moving to our favorite league for Saturday, the Bundesliga. Game number 1, Heidenheim at home taking on Freiburg. This one right here is pretty much a coin flip as well. But I will take the more veteran team, the team that's been in this league for a longer time. Give me Freiburg at plus 155 to get the victory here. That's the cool thing about soccer matches. When you have two even teams, you can get a money line at plus 155, plus 160, plus 175. So that's what we're going to do today, taking Freiburg at plus 155 with the victory. Moving on to Werder Bremen at home, taking on the all-powerful Bayern Munich, who just destroyed a team in the Champions League. I believe the final score was 9-2. 9-2. Bayern Munich. Harry Kane had, I believe, 4 goals, 4 goals, I think. Dominated. Got to go with Bayern Munich to take the victory here as the away team. They're at minus 256 for a reason. Bayern Munich to get another victory. Union Berlin at home versus Hoffenheim. I'm going for the surprise here. Give me Hoffenheim at plus 258 to get the win over Union Berlin. VfL Bochum at home taking on Holstein Kiel. VfL Bochum, Holstein Kiel, bottom of the barrel teams. Give me the home team, VfL Bochum. Next game, last game for Saturday, Bundesliga. Eintracht Frankfurt at home taking on Borussia Gladbach. Eintracht Frankfurt is a minus 135 favorite. Borussia Gladbach plus 331. Give me Eintracht Frankfurt for the victory at minus 135. Moving on to Liga MX, the Mexican League, for Saturday night. This league, it's a hit or miss. Sometimes you think there's going to be goals and there isn't any goals, and not, the favorites don't always win in these games. So it's pretty tricky. So I'm going to do my best, and usually I do pretty good with this league when it comes to goals, but we're going to go with the victory and see who's going to win. Leon at home taking on Atletico San Luis. I'm going to go with some dogs this weekend. Give me Atletico San Luis at plus 253 in this game. Monterrey, Mexico versus Mazatlan. The lines are not up for this game yet. I'm not sure why. It is early. But let's go with Monterrey at home to take the victory over Mazatlan. Necaxa at home versus the all-powerful Club America, their big brother. I say they're big brothers because they have known each other for a lot of years. They're not really big rivals, but they have played a lot of games versus each other, and there's a lot of family connections in the ownership and things like that when it comes to these two teams. Um, Give me Club America to get a victory here at minus 101. They should dominate and win this game. Cruz Azul at home versus Chivas. This is a tricky one. Cruz Azul and Chivas. Chivas coming off a 1-0 loss to Club America in El Clásico are going to want to bounce back. Cruz Azul has been playing better than Las Chivas recently and do have better players. So give me Cruz Azul to get the victory here. One more league that I do not want to forget for Saturday is La Liga Spain. We got to go there. Real Valladolid versus Real Sociedad. Give me Real Sociedad to get the victory. Osasuna at home versus Las Palmas. Give me a draw. These two teams are known for draws. I'll take a draw in that game. Moving on to the next one. Valencia versus Girona. Girona just played a very tight match versus PSG in Champions League, which saw PSG win by a lucky goal at the very end, an own goal. Girona has been playing tough. Valencia has also been known to do pretty well. This one's pretty split. Valencia's plus 176, Girona's plus 161. You know what? I'm going to go with Valencia. I think Girona is going to be tired. Valencia's at home. Give me Valencia at plus 176 to take the victory here. Finishing off with Real Madrid at Espanyol, guys. Real Madrid at home, minus 588. Got to take Real Madrid at minus 1.5. It might even be minus 2.5 goals. Real Madrid team total over 2.5. Real Madrid will win that game. And that'll do it for Saturday's soccer action. All right, let's move on to Sunday's soccer action. Bundesliga, first game of the slate. Bayer Leverkusen at home versus Wolfsburg. Guys, this is going to be an easy one. Give me Bayer Leverkusen at home. Next game is a little bit tricky. Stuttgart at home versus Dortmund. Dortmund not coming off of very little rest. Stuttgart as well. Both are participating in the Champions League that is going on these days that we're recording this. So keep that in mind. The teams are going to be a little bit tired because they just played a game, a very important game in the Champions League. Stuttgart versus Dortmund. This is a tricky one. Stuttgart is at home, plus 129. Dortmund at plus 188. I'm going to go with a draw on this one, a 1-1, 2-2, possibly. Normally, I would like goals in this game, but because they are going off of both traveling and playing the Champions League games, things do happen that are out of the ordinary. So we got to be careful this weekend in the Champions League. Because of the Champions League, we got to be careful about the other leagues because they have games in between the weeks. So they're going to be tired, they're going to be traveling, and it's not going to be the same. And on a normal week, I would take the over in this game, but I'm not going to do it right now. I may change my mind. That's why it's good to be in the VIP. But right now, I'm going with a tie in this game. 1-1, 2-2, which would be the over. So keep that in mind. Moving on to the third game in the Bundesliga, St. Pauli at home versus RB Leipzig. Got to go with RB Leipzig for that one, guys, as the winner. So we're going to move on to the next league, which is in England, the good old England Premier League. Only going to have 2 games there. Brighton at home taking on Nottingham Forest, who came out with a crazy win in their last matchup. They took down the all-powerful Liverpool in Liverpool, guys. Come on now. That's not supposed to happen. Liverpool were minus 500 favorites, and they lost 1-0 to a terrible Nottingham Forest team who was plus 992. I don't even remember the last time Nottingham Forest has beat Liverpool. So that one was a big killer for the books. I have to take Brighton on this one. Give me Brighton to come back with the win at home and to sit Nottingham Forest back down from their high horses. Give me Brighton to win that game. Manchester City at home taking on Arsenal. Another big game. These two teams fought it out in the England Premier League to the end. Manchester City was the champions. Arsenal were second place. Arsenal was actually in first place for the majority of the season. So this is kind of a rematch rivalry game between two of the top teams in the England Premier League. Manchester City today, as I'm recording this morning, just got a draw versus Inter Milan in the Champions League play. Another very surprising result, 0-0. Nobody scored. That killed a lot of plays as well today. Manchester City at home versus Arsenal. I got to take Manchester City to bounce back and show Arsenal who their daddy is. Manchester City to win at home versus Arsenal. All right, guys, and now is that special time where I give you the 2-team over 2.5 parlay for the weekend. We're going to the MLS United States Soccer League first, and we're going to Real Salt Lake versus the Portland Timbers. We're going to parlay that up with our favorite league, Bundesliga, for Saturday. Eintracht Frankfurt and Borussia Gladbach, guys. Take those two to the bank. Over parlay, 2-teamer. Let's go. Moving on to the NFL this Sunday, guys. Before we get into it, we got to talk about what happened last week in the NFL. Like I've mentioned before, NFL is one of the hardest sports to bet, and it's been clear week 1, week 2. We saw some big upsets. We saw a big upset in week 1 with the Bengals going down. In week 2, we saw the Ravens going down to a Raiders team that just didn't look like they had anything in the gas to win that game. And we just saw the Eagles go down in the final seconds of Monday Night Football in a game where they had dominated, had been winning the game most of the game, guys. So anything could happen in the NFL. Always remember that. I think the stats are currently for Sunday NFL football, the public versus the spread versus Vegas and the bookies are 8 and 19. That means that the bookies and the Vegas are 19 and 8 versus the public versus the spread. That means if you would have just faded the public straight up, and when I mean public, I mean when there's 60 to 70, 80%, 90% more of the bets on one side of the spread, that's what I consider the public. And the public has been getting hammered in weeks 1 and 2. So keep that in mind as you move forward. This week, we have some very tricky games. So these are not going to be easy to pick. I would say keep your bets low and don't overbet and just wait for the soccer bets, man. Take it easy. Do the soccer. The NFL is just for fun. Don't bet big on that. So let's go right into our first game. Chicago Bears, Indianapolis Colts. The Bears are favored -1. The over-under is 43.5. The Indianapolis Colts are 0-2. The Bears are 1-1. Caleb Williams not having the best start. Colts 0-2. This is a tricky one. The Colts are at home, -1 favorites. I don't know. I don't know about this one. I may just have to go with the under here. This is a tricky one. I'm going to go against what I normally would think in a game like this. I'm going to take the Bears money line. Any thoughts for my friend here on game number 1?
This one's going to be a stay off for me. Usually in greasy games like this, I would just rather stay off. Once again, there's some games I'm locked into, some games I'm just going to save my money on.
There you go, guys. This is, like I said, this game's a coin flip, and I'm going against what I would normally pick. Normally, I would take the home team in situation like this, but since you can never guess what's going to happen in the NFL and it's up in the air, I'm going with the opposite of what I would normally go with. Give me the Bears to win this Sunday. Moving on to Cleveland. Cleveland Browns at home taking on the New York Giants. Browns are favored by 6.5. Over under is 38.5. Here's another tricky one, guys. 6.5 points for the Browns. That seems like a big spread. They are 1-1. They have won one, lost one. Giants 0-2, haven't been doing anything. Without going into too much detail, like I said, I'm gonna do something different this week with the NFL, and kind of go opposite what I would normally would do. I'm gonna go with the New York Giants +7. I'm gonna buy half a point, and that's what I'm gonna go with in this game. Any insight from you on this one?
Actually, I'm going to be building a parlay with this one. It's not what a capper would suggest, but it's what a DGen would do. I'm going to buy points on this game and go to the under, and I'm also going to buy points on the Broncos Buccaneers game and go to the under. I'll probably be able to get a decent line on it, and it probably hits at a very high clip. So that'll be one of my safety parlays or safer parlays for the day.
All right, sounds good. Moving on to the next game, Tennessee Titans at home taking on the Green Bay Packers. Titans 0-2, yet they're favored by -2 points. Packers 1-1, going into Tennessee as a +2 dog. Packers are coming off a big win over the Colts, and I believe the Colts were favored in that game, so that's a big win for the Green Bay Packers. Tennessee Titans are coming off a loss to the terrible New York Jets. This is a weird line here. I would think after those results, we would see the Packers as a team with the point spread in their advantage, but that's not the case. So I'm going to go ahead and take the Packers for that reason alone. Give me the Packers money line in this game. Who do you have on this game?
It's another one I'm just going to probably be cheesy with it and look towards an under and possibly even look at the kickers on this game. I want to see what their totals are for last season and what they've done this season so far, and see if I can get some value there on this game.
Okay. Sounds good. Moving on to our next game. Philadelphia Eagles at the New Orleans Saints. New Orleans Saints favored -3, over-unders 49.5. The Saints are surprising 2-0 right now. Saints are 2-0 going into this game. Eagles 1-1. I mean, Derek Carr and the Saints are on fire right now. I think he's thrown for over five or so touchdowns, close to 500 yards in 2 games. So he's been tearing it up, and that's why the Saints are favored at home. Obvious would say go with the Saints again. They're on fire, but I'm going to go with the Eagles to get a bounce back victory here. Give me the Eagles +3.5, just in case. I'm going to buy half a point in case there's a field goal by the Saints that wins the game for them. But give me the Eagles to bounce back. Any input from you on this game?
I mean, the infamous drop ball at the end of the game was probably heartbreaking for Philadelphia fans. They probably felt like they were Buffalo Bills fans at that point. But I'd have to say I'm going to have to go back to the well with Saquon Barkley. I hope we get a little bit of value back on the line. Probably not, because they'll be expecting him to get a touchdown this game. And then also I'll be on the other side of the ball, like you were saying. We'll be looking at touchdowns. We'll be looking at yardage for the wide receivers and the quarterback as well too. So maybe a little mini parlay on the other end with a little Saquon Barkley yardage to buff it up. So I'll be looking at this game quite a bit. It'll likely be a parlay game for me. But Barkley by himself solely for a touchdown and an over on his yardage.
All right, there we go. Next game going to Pittsburgh. Another interesting game. Chargers headed to Pittsburgh. Chargers are 2-0. Pittsburgh Steelers are 2-0. Not many people would have thought that these two teams would be 2-0 going on into this game. I hate the Chargers. I bet against them when my Raiders played them in week 1. It didn't go too well, and I figured that they would win game 2, which they did. This one's is a -1.5 spread, so it's pretty much a pick 'em. Let's see what happens this week. I'm going to go with the Chargers and Jim Harbaugh to take the win here. Kind of keep it simple. Do you have any input on this game? Chargers at Steelers.
Hard stay off for me on this one.
Yeah, it's a tricky one. I mean, they're both 2-0. The Lions a pick 'em. It's a coin flip game, so you pretty much are just guessing on this one, and that's why you should probably skip this game. Next game, Houston Texans at Minnesota Vikings. Man, these ones are getting tricky. Another pick 'em. You know what, guys? This NFL weekend, just skip NFL, man. Stick to the soccer. We will give you some picks just for the show and for fun, but this is a stay away weekend. As I see these games and I'm talking about them, and I see the lines, it's pretty much coin flip a game. Ask your cat, ask your dog, ask your son, daughter, ask somebody who doesn't know anything about football and make a parlay. You have a better chance than trying to predict these games on your own. Houston Texans 2-0. Minnesota Vikings 2-0. I'm going to go with the Texans. Any input there?
I actually, and I'm horrible at doing it, but I'll probably buy points once again. But I'm going to look to the over on this. I don't mind buying a little bit of chalk and then hammering the line. But I think both these teams are going to open it up, and I think we're going to see points in this game.
All right. Moving on to the next game. Tampa Bay Buccaneers 2-0 versus the absolutely disgusting, terrible Denver Broncos. But just when you think that, just when you're like, there's no way I'm ever betting that team because I've done it in the past and I've watched their games, they're absolutely disgusting when it comes to just every play, like a flag, they're dropping balls. It's just absolutely sickening. And that's how the public thinks. So give me those disgusting Denver Broncos at +7 this weekend. You like what I'm doing there? You got to
I
think that
mean,
way sometimes.
yeah, every once in a while you got to go counter to what the narrative could be because eventually everybody has a good day. But I'm going to keep it simple and go back to the well once again with this guy. And I sort of wanted to start making it a sort of a segment for you to have a kick prop always ready for you with new kickers that I find an angle on a kicker.
There
But
you
while
go.
this guy continues to get a line, I'm going to go with Will Lutz. Will Lutz was at 5.5 last game, and although was a little bit of a sweat and he got them late in the game, he just consistently gets at least 2 field goals. And if the line sits there again, I'm hammering it. If it's a little bit bigger, I might even still hammer it because in this game I think it's going to be an under again, and we're going to see a lot of kicks. So we'll go to Will Lutz, and that's been cashing.
Right. Sounds good. Yeah. When you find the value in those kicking props or any props, you got to keep attacking them until they change the line or don't let you do it anymore. But yeah, for example, I think it was the kicker for the Falcons, King Young Hoo. He's also good for field goals. You kick him deep, he gets a couple, 2 or 3 a game, especially when they get stopped on that 4th down. So yeah, keep those going. Moving on to Las Vegas in the next game. Carolina Panthers at the Las Vegas Raiders. Carolina Panthers have been terrible, 0-2. Raiders, that's my team. I hate betting their games. They're 1-1. Look terrible against the Chargers. And I don't know if they look good against the Ravens or if the Ravens are just overrated and are going to be terrible this year. That's yet to be determined. This is another one where the obvious thing is to take the Raiders -5. So I'm not going to do that. I'm going to take the Panthers plus, I'll buy a point, +6 points. Give me the Carolina Panthers +6 points just because it's a crazy week. You taking anybody on this game?
Yeah, based on even how you're talking to it, the only way I could sort of attack this because the Panthers have been just absolutely horrible, and the Raiders, you just don't know what you're going to get. And the line, I don't know. Maybe it's right, but the reality is, I'll probably look at this even live and see where I can get an advantage live, and see maybe I'll hit a line like what you're hitting, but then I'll feel a lot more secure about it because the Panthers are just sort of sticking in there and hanging with the Raiders because they're just letting them stay in the game. So that's how I'll probably attack this one.
Yeah, and like we said before, if you're just going with the obvious, with the team who's supposed to win and supposed to cover, you'd be 8-19 right now because that's how the Joes have been through week 2. 8-19. I'll keep you updated on those spreads and bets every week. Right now, the Joes are 8-19 versus the spread versus Vegas and the public. So can't always bet with the obvious. You got to go opposite of what it seems as the most plausible thing happening may not happen. That gets us right into our next game. Miami Dolphins without Tua going up against Seattle Seahawks. Seattle Seahawks at home are favored by -4.5, only -4.5. Give me the Dolphins with no quarterback at +5. What do you got there?
It's a tough one, man, because I think the Dolphins might have their work cut out for them in this game without their quarterback, but we'll see. It all depends on how the running backs respond. I think I'll probably look at the Dolphins running backs as some props I'll be looking at because they'll be depending on them quite a bit. But yeah, Geno Smith might light it up too. I don't know. We'll see. But I'll probably lean maybe more into the Dolphins running backs, and I may be on the other side of the ball with you on this one and be for the Seahawks.
All right. Sounds good. Next game, moving to Arizona. Arizona Cardinals taking on the Detroit Lions. I believe both teams are 1-1. Yep, they both are 1-1. Cardinals coming off a big win, I believe, over the Rams in their last game where they dominated. I think Kyler Murray is also up there with touchdown passes and with the yards. He's been throwing plenty of them in both of the games. Cardinals just beat the Rams 41-10. Lions in their last game coming off a loss versus the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. So I am a little surprised that the line is Lions -3. This seems too good to be true. Seems like a trap, but based on everything that we've seen, give me the Cardinals at home +3. You got a side on this one? Any props?
I'm right with you with Arizona. I think one of the best things that happened to me as an NFL gambler this year was watching my Buffalo Bills play Arizona in the first game this season. Getting to see Connor. Concrete Connor is just a bad man. I isolated that game last week and attacked it from both ends, both running backs, and was able to get Connor as well for a touchdown. So Arizona's just they were playing inspired football. Like I watched that full game in detail, and their quarterback is just he is on fire right now. So I'm going to be going with Arizona. I think they could win this game. But also, there's just on both sides of the ball, there's quite a bit of props in this game too. So I'll probably reattack this Arizona sort of situation and hit some touchdown props and some overs on running backs.
All right, sounds good. Moving on to the next game, rivalry, division game, San Francisco 49ers going to the LA Rams in Los Angeles. The spread is 7 points. Rams are 0-2. 49ers are 1-1. So, of course, the 49ers are big favorites at -7. The over-under is 44.5. Rams have shown they can put up some points and can be scored on as well in the last game where they were dominated by the Arizona Cardinals. This is another one where I can't go with the obvious. I got to go with the Rams +7 at home. And I'm going to go with the over 44.5 points here. What do you got?
100% agree. First line I look at is the over. I'm going to be attacking that one actually as soon as we get off of here. And San Francisco, I'm probably going to actually parlay them up. I think they handle the Rams in this game, but I think there's going to be a lot of points. I think McCaffrey's still out. I haven't even checked into that, but I still feel like they have enough firepower without him as well too. Mason on fire, and then on top of that, I think Deebo Samuel gets a touchdown as well too this week.
All right, there we go. Moving on to the next game, another tricky one, another coin flip game. Ask your cat, ask your neighbor, ask your dog. This one's going to be a tricky one. Going to Dallas Cowboys, 1-1 at home, taking on the Baltimore Ravens, who are surprising 0-2. I just will probably fade the public. Whoever the public's on this game, I'm going to bet the opposite since I don't have those numbers out right now when we're recording this. I'm going to have to go with Baltimore Ravens to get a win. I know the Cowboys are at home and are 1-1, but I think that there's no way that the Ravens can go down 0-3. But at the same time, can the Cowboys really go to 1-2? I don't know. Coin flip game. Give me the Ravens.
Yeah, for me, like betting on the Cowboys straight up always feels real greasy. I couldn't put my money behind the Cowboys. Like, you just don't know what you're going to get some games, and some games they should look great. Some games is just horrible. I've talked about that before, but I'm with you on the Ravens side. I think the Ravens, this is going to be a game where they're all going to have a conversation. Like, you can't go 0-3 in the NFL and expect to make the playoffs. You can't come out of the gate like that. Like, it just, there's even stats about 0-2 where teams that go 0-2 don't really make the playoffs. So they can't lose this game. This is a must win. So they're going to be geared up. Baltimore Ravens money line will be a play for me. I'm not looking at points. So I'm just going to hit it straight up at -120 and call it a day.
And what's crazy about that one, exactly, I agree with everything you're saying, is that the Cowboys do not want to go 1-2 either. They do not want to go 1-2, especially at home. So it's a coin flip. I like that we're both on the same side. So let's see what happens. Final game Sunday night. Kansas City Chiefs at the Atlanta Falcons, who just came off that last-minute win versus the Eagles in Philadelphia, taking on the Kansas City Chiefs, the back-to-back champions, who everybody says, the refs helped again and again and again in their latest victory versus the Cincinnati Bungles, the Bengals, who were so close. But the Kansas City Chiefs are 2-0, back-to-back champions, favored by 3.5. Falcons at home. Oof, this is a tricky one. I think this one I'm going to go for a teaser since it is Sunday night, and my teaser might change. If you're my VIP, you will get my teaser. We do very well on teasers, especially on the primetime games. But looking at it today on Wednesday, while we record this, I like give me the Falcons and the under 7-point teaser. Falcons would be bumped up to about 10.5. Over under is at 46. So it'd be at about 53, I believe, with the 7 points. And I like that. I like the Chiefs plus the 7 points. Give me the over under, add 7 points to that, and give me a teaser with the dog and the under. There's been a lot more unders than overs on primetime games. What do you think about that teaser?
I was just going to say, I like that a lot, man. That's probably something I will be tailing.
Yep. Chiefs plus 10.5, under 53.5. You got to take that. And that'll do it for Sunday NFL football this week. And everybody who joined that free exclusive VIP weekend, guys, was paid. We got a lot of winners. It started off in the Bundesliga. We had the over in the Hoffenheim versus Bayer Leverkusen game. We had the over in the Wolfsburg versus Eintracht Frankfurt game. We had another winner that day in the Bundesliga, Borussia Gladbach versus Stuttgart. That's how the streak started. We went right into Paris versus Brest, over in that game. That cashed as well. Guys, it was nonstop winning. Those set us up for the big night, Saturday night, LA Galaxy versus LAFC, where we swept the board. We had the both to score super mega banger. We had the both to score over 2.5. We had the over 3 mega sweep, guys. All of you were treated to that as well. What other capper gives you a free weekend VIP and dominates the board like we did? Nobody. We continued that on with a parlay, guys, that everybody bet straight as well. It was a 3-teamer. Birmingham City versus Wrexham over 2.5. That was a -45. Both to score in the Italian game, Lazio versus Hella Verona. Guys, that was a -102. We had the over 1.75 in the Spanish game, Rayo Vallecano versus Osasuna. That was over 1.5, 2. All three hit. I gave that as a parlay and as straight bets. That was a +444 winner chicken dinner. That was followed up by Young Boys versus Aston Villa, another victory at over 2.5, 3. We also finished that off with the both to score in Real Madrid versus Stuttgart. Guys, the wins were nonstop. 15-1 VIP run for the people. Let's rock and roll. Boom shakalaka.